Imagine, if you will, stepping into this incredibly detailed world. It's laid out in a compelling scenario document. Quite unsettling, really.
Yeah, it's more than just a story, isn't it? It feels like a blueprint.
Exactly. A blueprint for horror. It maps out this place where everything looks perfect on the surface, beautiful homes, manicured lawns.
But underneath, something else entirely. A secret that's been, well, festering for decades. Consuming lives.
So today, we're not just telling you the story from the document. We're trying to dissect how such a horror is even constructed, how it's woven together in the source material itself. Welcome to the Uncanny Valley podcast. We peel back the layers, look inside the unsettling creations found in these kinds of documents. Our goal today is to walk you through this really fascinating, quite granular operation scenario document. It's focused on Druid Hills, this wealthy, historic Atlanta suburb.
And it gives such a rare look into things that are supposedly deeply hidden, events unnoticed by the outside world for, well, generations, according to the text.
Right. It's like an expose, not just of the narrative, but of how the mechanics of power, privilege, and this kind of unspeakable evil are built into the very structure of a fictional community. It gives us a unique angle on how cosmic horror storytelling works.
And the document really leans into painting Druid Hills beautifully at first. It describes it as, affluent just east of Atlanta City proper, right along Ponce de Leon Avenue.
That classic Atlanta artery.
Exactly. And the scenario design immediately sets up this veneer of perfection by name-dropping Frederick Law Olmsted.
The Central Park guy.
The very same. So the document uses that connection. Olmsted designed Druid Hills, too. It's not just trivia. It's used to define the neighborhood's feel, this sort of gracious elegance.
Big old houses.
Huge, century-old mansions, yeah. Many built from that distinctive stone mountain granite, set on these gentle, grassy hills. It explicitly says the place embodies the ideal of Southern prosperity.
Setting up a huge contrast.
A massive contrast for the darkness it unveils later. The document basically says, prosperity runs deep here, but so do the secrets. The perfection itself is almost unsettling, makes the hidden stuff hit harder.
And that's where the document really hooks you, with this central mystery. It reveals that for decades, kids have been quietly disappearing from public view. Right there in Druid Hills.
Not like snatched off the street, reported missing.
No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
They're just withdrawn from school. Officially. Parents pull them out, and then puff. They're never seen again. No missing person reports, nothing.
And the document poses that immediate question. How? How could a pattern like that across generations persist, especially in a place like this, wealthy, influential?
Seemingly above reproach.
Yeah.
How does it stay hidden? That's the core question that kicks this whole thing off in the source material.
The
lingering shadows. Joe Dawant's unsettling discovery. Okay, so let's get into section I of this scenario document. It's titled The Lingering Shadows, and it introduces this character, Joe Dawant.
Right. He's our entry point. The document describes him as a retired detective, worked for both Atlanta PD and DeKalb County.
Now, he's a volunteer, right, for the Center for the Missing Child.
Exactly. But there's this fascinating detail in his character description. He's labeled Delta Green friendly.
Okay, so for listeners who might not know, Delta Green is this modern cosmic horror setting.
Yeah.
Agents investigating the really weird stuff, often paying a heavy price.
Precisely. So flagging Dawant that way immediately tells a certain kind of reader that he's got some level of awareness, or at least an open mind about things. Well, things beyond the normal. Makes him the perfect investigator for this scenario, even if he doesn't know the full picture.
And his motivation is grounded in something very real and tragic, according to the document. His obsession with the Atlanta child murders from the late 70s.
Yeah, that horrific period shaped him. The document says it forged his dedication to protecting vulnerable kids, especially missing ones. It gives him this relatable, powerful drive.
Which leads him to uncover this statistical anomaly.
It really does. It was that drive that made him look closer, dig into the records in a way maybe others hadn't. And he finds this really peculiar demographic trend almost hiding in plain sight.
What was the pattern exactly?
Okay, so the document details this recurring thing over 75 years. Specifically, second children from wealthy white Druid Hills families. They get withdrawn from school between ages 12 and 14.
That specific age range feels significant.
Very. It suggests maybe a ritual timing or a particular vulnerability the cult exploits. And the really chilling part, the key nugget here, is what happens after they're withdrawn.
Disappear.
utterly from all official records. No death certificates issued, no employment history pops up later, no bank accounts, no driver's licenses, nothing.
And this isn't just one or two kids we're talking about.
No, the source is explicit. Dozens of children across decades. This systematic erasure, it points away from random crime and towards something organized, something powerful enough to manipulate the system and just delete people.
It's foundational to the horror the document builds, this reach, this influence.
Absolutely.
And the document then gets into Dawant's reaction, his frustration. Which brings up this theme of privilege, right? How it shields things.
Yeah, it does. Dawant, who's described as a black man, is quoted directly in the material. He says something like, "A black child goes missing, people say it must be drugs or gangs and they just look the other way. But a white child goes missing and here comes the task force and the media."
But then he points out the contradiction.
Right. Yet these rich white families are losing kids on the regular and nobody says nothing. Now, just to be clear, as we always do here on the Uncanny Valley podcast, we're reporting what's in the source material.
We're analyzing the document's content, not endorsing any viewpoints presented within it.
Exactly. The document uses these real-world social dynamics, race, class, as a narrative device to explain how these disappearances could be ignored or suppressed for so long in this fictional setting.
So the privilege isn't just about the nice houses.
Not at all. Within this story, it's about the terrifying ability to make children vanish without consequence because their social standing protects them from scrutiny. It's a chilling explanation for the silence.
Which brings the mystery right up to the present day in the scenario.
Yes, it gives Dawant's historical research immediate urgency. There's a specific case, 12-year-old Henry Venable. He was withdrawn from Druid Hills Middle School just a month ago, according to the document.
And his parents.
Tragically, Austin and Melvina Venable died in a car crash 3 months before Henry was withdrawn. This timing is crucial for the plot.
Leaving Henry and his older sister alone.
Right. 19-year-old Abigail or Abby, they're the only ones left, living in the family's ancestral mansion, this place called Stonehenge. So Henry's disappearance makes Dawant's pattern a live crisis. It makes the horror immediate.
And that car accident. The document includes a really weird detail there too, doesn't it? Something that hints at the unnatural.
Oh, yeah. It screams it. Officially, it was ruled an accident. But the respondent officer, Danny Ferguson, he noted something bizarre. The car was absolutely riddled with cicadas.
Cicadas, like swarming.
Smeared on the windshield, jammed into the door seams, ground into the tires, just everywhere. But here's the kicker. The classic horror foreshadowing.
Let me guess, it wasn't cicada season.
Exactly. Entomologists confirmed no cicada broods were emerging that year. The swarm was, quote, wildly irregular and makes no sense.
So it's not just strange, it's impossible.
Precisely. It's a tangible crack in the reality of this perfect community. The document uses it as the first explicit clue that something else is going on here. Something defying natural explanation. A breadcrumb.
So as you engage with this scenario, you really have to ask, what kind of power, what level of deeply ingrained secrecy could be designed into a fictional world to allow this pattern to continue for 75 years?
And maybe even more disturbingly, what could possibly compel these families, generation after generation, to go along with it, to participate in something so horrifying? The document forces you to confront that. 2. The deep-seated horror. The Druid Hills ghoul cult. Okay, so linking Dawant's investigation to the underlying truth. Section 2 of the document, the deep-seated horror, is where it really pulls back the curtain.
This is where we find out what's really going on with the missing kids.
Yes. It's not just disappearances. It's an ancient horror. The document reveals this community is built on top of a cult devoted to some subterranean entity called Nyogtha.
Nyogtha sounds ominous.
Right. And this cult is deeply intertwined with a community of ghouls living beneath Druid Hills Cemetery.
Ghouls. Okay, so actual literal ghouls.
That's what the document specifies. And this isn't some new phenomenon. It explicitly states the cult has been around since just before the Civil War.
Wow. So over 150 years.
Yeah, indicating this profound generational commitment. It's shaped the community from its very roots. That deep historical evil is a classic effective trope in this kind of horror writing. Ancient, patient, embedded.
And the document connects the cult's origins to something else pretty horrific, too.
It does. It links it directly to white supremacy. The sources state the cult was instrumental in the founding of the modern Ku Klux Klan.
Where?
In 1915, atop Stone Mountain. And here's a particularly chilling detail from the document. The founding ritual wasn't just attended by racist humans.
Let me guess. Ghouls, too.
Racist ghouls disguised in white robes, according to the text. Again, just to reiterate, we're analyzing the content here, the narrative choices within this fictional document.
Not endorsing these abhorrent ideologies.
Absolutely not. The document uses this bigotry as a core part of the cult's identity. It describes them as having this snobbish disdain, believing non-white races are lesser beings of lower intelligence and inferior genetics.
And this racism extends to their ghoul practices.
Apparently, yes. The document mentions an ironclad rule that only the bodies of white citizens could be consumed. Other races were declared unclean and inedible. It's presented not just as prejudice, but as fundamental to their twisted worldview in the narrative.
Just vile. Okay, so connect this back to Nyogtha, the entity they worship.
Right, Nyogtha, described as the dweller in darkness, a vast and deathless subterranean entity, usually manifests apparently as a formless, stinking mass, brings destruction.
Sounds pleasant.
Quite. But the cult's relationship with it is described as nuanced. If they worship it at a distance, they gain these profound hypergeometric insights.
Hypergeometric.
Yeah.
Like reality-bending geometry.
Non-Euclidean stuff. That's the implication. Understanding that transcends normal physics. But classic cosmic horror trade-off, it comes at a price. Their minds lose touch with reality and morality.
Sanity slippage for forbidden knowledge.
Exactly. And these insights aren't small things. The document suggests they can lead to seeming immortality and allow them to create tunnels that traverse vast distances with just a few steps.
So, shortcuts through reality. Portal tunnels.
That's what it sounds like. A powerful narrative tool makes the cult incredibly elusive and hard to pin down.
Okay, and the ghouls' core beliefs.
Yeah.
The document gets pretty cosmic there, right? About Nyogtha's big project.
Oh, yeah, it's mind-bending. They believe Nyogtha is on this 500 million-year mission to consume Earth's core.
Consume the core.
Leaving behind rapidly cooling sulfur, which they call brimstone. And here's a clever bit of integration with real science.
What's that?
They believe the recently discovered inner core of Earth, that is Nyogtha, gnawing away at the planet's heart.
Yeah, okay.
And their own ritual consumption of the dead mirrors this planetary consumption. It's like their local horror reflects this vast cosmic catastrophe.
A justification for their actions.
And their minds, yes.
Yeah.
And within that system, the document details the brimstone heart ritual.
What does that do?
It lets a human follower convert their heart into cold sulfur. Their flesh gets replaced by Nyogtha's material, grants near immortality.
But they become something else.
They become thralls, loyal but enfeebled servants. And they apparently smell faintly of sulfur, like rotten eggs, a constant, smelly reminder of their corrupted state. It's a key control mechanism for the cult.
So tell us more about the ghouls themselves. What are they like, according to the document?
Okay, so it indicates there are over 200 ghouls beneath Druid Hills, mostly former residents. Some apparently came from Salem, Massachusetts, through those hypergeometric portals.
Salem. Okay, another horror trope connection. Are they invincible?
Immortal, yes, but not invulnerable. They don't starve, but the document says going without food for decades can cause psychological issues, depression, mania.
So they have vulnerabilities.
They do,
Yeah.
which could be exploited. Their diet is specific too, usually eat once a year. They prefer wizened and seasoned dead.
Prepared where?
In the funeral home's secret charcuterie kitchen, we'll get to that. Importantly, the document states they do not kill for food or sport, only for protection or secrecy.
That's a crucial constraint. It defines their limits.
Right? Makes them slightly more predictable, but still opportunistic. Like the Civil War is described as a feast for them. They recruited wounded soldiers, desperate for life, capitalized on the chaos to grow.
So how does this all stay secret in such a prominent place for so long? How does the document explain that?
Ingeniously, actually. It says the original cult leaders were the planners and developers of Druid Hills. They built their influence right into the neighborhood's foundations.
Literally built on secrets.
Pretty much. All the real estate deals were private. This allowed them to reward politicians, business leaders, weaving this intricate web of influence.
And this network protected them.
Completely. Shielded their vassals from legal trouble. Even covered up, quote, a handful of murders over the decades. The document graphically describes the remains being wholly devoured and the crime scenes obsessively licked clean.
Ugh. Chilling. So wealth and power create this impenetrable shield. The good life built on horror.
Exactly. Making people complicit, or at least strategically blind.
But what about the families who aren't in the cult? The normal ones living there? Do they sense anything?
The document suggests they do. While they don't know about ghouls in Nyogtha, they collectively feel something is rotten.
How does that manifest?
The one statistic they apparently can't cover up is unusually high suicide rates. It's presented as the hidden cost, the unspoken dread of living under this shadow.
The price of one's soul is measured out in pounds of flesh, the document says.
Yeah, a very vivid line. It even adds the sensory detail. Sometimes these residents can smell it when the wind shifts suddenly over the graveyard, and they shiver.
Wow. That conveys this pervasive ambient horror really effectively, even for those not directly involved.
It paints this picture of quiet desperation under the surface of luxury.
It's truly chilling to think about the setup in this document. This perfect life, designed around ancient horror, sustained by corruption, demanding this awful unspoken price.
It really makes you consider the moral compromises baked into that fictional world, what people overlook to maintain that good life. 3. A family feud. The Venable dynasty and Abby's rebellion.
Okay, so let's zero in on the family at the heart of this darkness, the Venables. Section 3 of the document focuses on them, calls it a family feud.
Right, their lineage is deeply tied to the cult. At the very top, you have Richard Venable, founder, current ghoul leader, been in charge since 1873.
It's 1873. That's incredible longevity. How?
He's inhabiting the body of his daughter, Sarah. The document paints him as completely monstrous, condescending, arrogant, cruel, a white supremacist, rarely leaves the ghoul warrens beneath the cemetery. He's the clear main antagonist.
And he has a son involved, too.
Yes, William Venable. Around since 1906. He's in his daughter's body, Maud Gay, but William maintains a human disguise.
Who is he pretending to be?
Jeremiah Ashcott, the urbane director of the Druid Hills funeral home. He's the cult's public face, keeping the status quo running above ground. The father-son dynamic, both possessing their children, is central to the scenario's grim family history.
And this body swapping. The document has a specific name for it, right? A ritual.
It does. A truly horrific practice called entwining. This is how the cult leaders, usually fathers, achieve their twisted immortality.
How does it work? It sounds awful.
It is. They posthumously dominate their minds, forcing their younger children into becoming ghouls. Then the child ghoul, well, they devour the corpses of their parents.
Oh, God.
And through that, they become possessed by their dead father's sorcerous mind. The document even details the process.
I'm almost afraid to ask.
The father's brain is prepared, steeped in a spiced brine for up to a year. Then it's pureed and injected directly into the child's brain,
Injected.
permanently seizing control of the body. It's not just consciousness transfer. It's the complete erasure of the child's identity. Parasitic immortality. It's central to the horror and, crucially, to Abby's rebellion.
Abby. Abigail Venable. The 19-year-old sister we mentioned earlier, she's the key figure in this section.
Absolutely. She's portrayed as smart, persuasive, very strong-willed, and she feels total contempt for the prosperous grown-ups of Druid Hills.
And she hates entwining.
Sees it as the ultimate betrayal of one's own family, a violation. Her goal, according to the document, to decapitate the cult's leadership, meaning Richard and William.
And take over herself. Lead a new generation.
Exactly, one that abandons entwining. She wants direct ghoul transformation, like her ancestor Abigail Prynne of Salem.
Another connection to Salem.
Yeah.
And Abby's been changed by this world, too.
The document says she's gazed into the black maw of Nyogtha and gained an unnatural calm, implying this unsettling clarity about her horrifying mission. She's a compelling but deeply ambiguous revolutionary figure.
Using the cult's own power against it. And her parents' death. That wasn't an accident at all, was it?
Not according to the document. It reveals her shocking secret. She murdered Austin and Melvina, specifically to stop them from entwining Henry, her younger brother. She saw it as saving him from a fate worse than death, and maybe feared her father had already started the process on his own brain.
How did she do it? The cicadas.
That was her. She used a ritual called Rising Feast, a version of Swarm. It let her summon that horde of cicadas from the earth and direct them at a target.
The car.
Exactly. It chillingly explains the mystery swarm, a calculated, ritualistic murder cleverly foreshadowed earlier in the document. Great narrative economy there.
So what's Abby's endgame? What's your plan now?
It's complex, multi-layered, a revolution from within, immediate goal. Save Henry from their father's mind. She wants him to be his own ghoul, not a vessel.
So she needs to stop the upcoming entwining ritual.
Right. And eliminate Richard and William to seize control. Long term, she wants to transform the cult and entwining, embrace direct ghoul transformation like Abigail Prynne.
And she plans to use outsiders, like potential investigators.
That's her cunning strategy, yeah. Use outsiders to do her dirty work, orchestrate events so they take out the leadership for her. It's chillingly Machiavellian, a calculated manipulator.
So how does she plan to stop Henry's entwining specifically? The ritual is imminent, right?
Yes. Her immediate plan is ingenious, but incredibly risky. She prepared a duplicate brining container.
Filled with?
Not brain, fatty beef tissue from a grocery store. Her hope is that her ally, Dorothea McCleskey.
Daughter of another cult member who also hates entwining.
Right. The plan is for Dorothea to swap the fake container for the real one with Austin's brain puree right before the ritual.
So Henry still goes through the ritual physically.
Yes, the document says it's still traumatic. He'll spasm, pass out, but the injection will be harmless beef. His mind stays his own, unpossessed.
A high-stakes deception. Henry's identity hanging by a thread.
It's the core conflict within the family. Abby's desperate rebellion against centuries of monstrous tradition.
It really complicates things, doesn't it? This internal conflict. Abby murdered her parents, but maybe to prevent something worse. Is she a hero? A villain?
Or something else entirely, something truly in that uncanny valley between. Her motives might seem understandable in context, but her methods are horrifying.
It creates huge moral ambiguity for anyone stepping into this scenario. Who do you trust? Who do you help, if anyone?
Yeah.
The lair of secrets. Key locations in Druid Hills. Okay, let's move on to the places where this horror plays out. Section 4 of the document, The Lair of Secrets, details the key locations, starting with Stonehenge Mansion.
The Venable family home. Outwardly, yeah, gracious and splendid, as the document says. Built from that stone mountain granite, a landmark.
But inside,
It's riddled with hidden passages and ritual chambers. These connect directly to the ghoul warrens beneath the cemetery. So the house itself is a physical bridge between the normal world and the subterranean horror.
a literal embodiment of how privilege houses these secrets.
Exactly. And inside Stonehenge, we meet Samuel Venable, Richard and William's younger brother, and ironically, the guy who actually built the mansion.
What happened here?
His brothers forced him through the brimstone heart ritual, made him a thrall. So he's near immortal, but mentally enfeebled and deeply dependent.
And now he works for Abby.
As her near witless immortal butler. The ultimate irony. The original master scrubbing toilets in his own creation. It starkly shows the cult hierarchy and the dehumanizing costs of their immortality.
But there's a twist with Samuel.
A subtle but crucial detail in the document. Despite his state, he secretly transferred his loyalty entirely to Abby, a quiet defiance born from centuries of humiliation. He could be a wild card.
Okay, what about Henry's room? The document describes that too.
Yes, and it's designed to be deeply disturbing. It apparently smells foul because he's already a mostly ghoul body, and he keeps tidbits of cured human meat around his snacks.
Snacks, ugh. But he's still acting like a kid in some ways.
Incongruously, yes, he's playing Minecraft. But his Minecraft worlds are eerie, extensive caverns and tunnels below ground where monsters roam, always night, featuring temples to Nyogtha.
Wow, that's masterful. Indoctrination through play, normalizing the horror.
Exactly. It highlights his forced immersion, his situation, while still showing he's unaware of the entwining fate awaiting him. That mix of monstrous and mundane is chilling.
And William Venable is Jeremiah Ashcott. He uses a room there too.
He does, a guest bedroom, and it holds another grim secret, showing the cult's casual cruelty. He keeps another thrall there, Elliot Devers.
Related to Captain Devers, the police contact.
Her husband. Jeremiah uses Elliot as a plaything for cruel and sadistic violence. He knows Elliot heals fast and, due to the thrall conditioning, even welcomes the abuse.
That's horrific.
Samuel the butler silently cleans up the mess every day. The detail is there to show William's specific depravity, how thralls are victims of ongoing torture, the absolute moral decay.
Okay, let's go deeper. The secret basement in Stonehenge. The document describes something pretty symbolic there.
Oh, absolutely. It fuses the historical and supernatural evils. It's styled as Confederate States of America throne room.
A what?
Yeah, silk bunting, CSA flags, a granite throne modeled on the Lincoln Memorial's chair, but it holds a marble statue of Jefferson Davis.
Posed like Lincoln.
Posed like Lincoln, but holding a marble severed head of Abraham Lincoln on his hand, replica wound and all. The room also has dozens of KKK robes 100 years old.
My God. And the smell from the Warrens is present.
Faintly, but it gets stronger as you go deeper. This chamber is a masterstroke in the document's design. It powerfully connects the cult's white supremacy origins to their current supernatural evil using these visceral symbols of hate.
Again, just analyzing how the document uses these hateful elements to build its world.
Precisely. It's not just set dressing, it's a thematic anchor linking historical hate to ongoing depravity.
Okay, moving out of the house. The Druid Hills Funeral Home and Cemetery, this is the main hub, right?
Absolutely. The 180-acre cemetery, largest in Atlanta, and the funeral home run by William Jeremiah since 1912. They are vital to the whole ghoul operation.
And the funeral home has that weird practice.
No embalming. They claim it's an old custom that the founders thought it unseemly, but the narrative purpose is clear. It keeps the bodies fresh for other uses. It's a huge red flag hidden in plain sight.
And the basement of the funeral home. That's where things get really gruesome.
That's where the document reveals the well-stocked facility for the aging and curing of meats. And a full charcuterie kitchen.
Curing human meat.
Human corpses, sliced into morsels and passed around, the text says, normalizing the horror. And it explicitly states Austin and Melvina Venable's remains are there right now.
Henry and Abby's parents.
Thoroughly dismembered and processed into a large quantity of meats which are slowly curing, and Austin's brain, fermenting in a large glass vessel containing a spiced brine, waiting for Henry's ritual.
Unspeakable. It shows the calculated ritualistic nature of their consumption. Macabre culinary arts.
And also in that basement is the cult's temple to Nyogtha.
What's that like?
Features a large, intricate, circular mosaic blue, green, purple stones. In the center, a 3-foot obsidian disc. The document warns that standing on it brings visions but costs sanity SAN loss, using game mechanics language.
A direct link to the entity.
Seems so. And next to it, a 20-ton iron plug. A cork for a hole leading down into tunnels where protrusions of Nyogtha can manifest. It's their nerve center, worship, and a potential gateway.
Then there's the Marietta Pit. What is that?
Truly gruesome. A chamber filled with over 10,000 human heads.
10,000. Whose heads?
Union soldiers from the Civil War, stolen from Marietta National Cemetery. This was from the Great Feast after the war.
What happened then?
The cult apparently took pains to ensure every single white Union soldier's remains were devoured except for their heads, so that their memories would die with them.
And black soldiers?
Their bodies were fed to Nyogtha. Again, this horrific intersection of racism and supernatural horror. Analyzing this disturbing element, it underscores the cult's monstrous nature and its white supremacist roots, their desire to utterly erase enemies.
It's just layer upon layer of depravity.
Yeah.
And William Jeremiah has his own space down there, too.
Yeah, his personal salon in the Warrens. Filled with morbid art, including 3 unknown works by Richard Pickman.
The Lovecraft character. Nice touch, grounding it in the genre.
But the most disturbing detail reveals William's unique sickness, even for a ghoul. A cigar box contains withered fingers.
Finger from?
Other ghouls. The document stresses this violates a ghoul taboo so strong it does not even have a name. Unthinkable to others. It highlights William's profound depravity, his disregard for even their own dark rules. Makes him uniquely dangerous.
And finally, Stone Mountain Park comes back into play.
Right. Where the Venables got rich, where the KKK was founded, the Confederate carving, a place loaded with twisted history. Tourist spot by day.
But the planned location for Henry's initiation ritual.
Exactly. A very deliberate choice. Using that public stage, leveraging its symbolism of racism and power to amplify the horror of their private ritual. A potent setting for the climax.
It really makes you appreciate the design in the document.
Yeah.
How history, architecture, businesses, all meticulously crafted to conceal these atrocities.
Right under everyone's noses. It poses a great question for analyzing horror stories. How are normal places subverted to hide the monstrous?
Yeah.
V, the Unholy Alliance, organizations and influences. Okay, Section V, the Unholy Alliance, shows just how protected this cult is. It's not operating in a vacuum. It has a whole network.
Starting with law enforcement.
Corrupted law enforcement.
Yeah.
Captain Sandra Devers of the DeKalb County Police North Central Precinct. She's a cult member herself. She runs the Druid Hills Watch.
What's that?
Off-duty DCPD officers. The document specifies they're all white and are all members of or are sympathetic to local KKK leadership, loyal to Devers and the cult family.
So they provide protection, keep things quiet.
Exactly. Keep the cult out of official trouble. And they're ready to intervene quickly if, say, federal agents start asking too many questions. It shows how local power structures can be weaponized to shield secrets.
Again, analyzing the document's use of these hateful groups, not endorsing them.
Correct. It's illustrating systemic corruption within the narrative.
And the indoctrination starts young, doesn't it? There's a youth group mentioned.
Chillingly young. The Druid Hills Youth Association, an unofficial group led by William Venable, as Jeremiah Ashcott, for a century.
What do?
It grooms the second-born cult members, indoctrinates them, with delicious cured meats, overnight campouts in the cemetery, treasure hunts in the ghoul warrens.
Normalizing the absolute horror from childhood.
Precisely, desensitizing them, preparing them for transformation and eventually mental displacement by their own parents. It's the cult's self-perpetuation machine, a conveyor belt of victims and hosts.
And they have legal cover, too.
Oh, yeah. Very formidable shields. There's Solomon & Toro, a legitimate Atlanta law firm representing the Venables. But critically, only senior partners know the real deal. Compartmentalization for security.
And they work with another firm.
DRJ Partners, a global firm specializing in high-end criminal defense cases for wealthy clients. DRJ, the document says, can provide illegal services for the right price, surveillance, planting evidence, but without knowing the supernatural truth.
Plausible deniability.
Exactly. They're a layer of protection ensuring legal challenges hit a brick wall. Shows the cult using the justice system itself to maintain secrecy. Intricate planning.
And then there's this book, The Black Book of Abigail Prynne. That sounds important.
Vital piece of the puzzle, an archaic cryptic journal from a 17th century Salem witch, an acolyte of Nyogtha, and conveniently for the plot, Abby has it now.
What's in it?
Rituals, like withering, which Abby apparently used on her parents, and rising feast, the cicada swarm ritual, plus insights into Nyogtha and ghouls.
But reading it has a cost.
Studying it grants unnatural knowledge, but causes lost sanity damage in game terms, the price of forbidden knowledge.
And there's a personal touch with Abby in the book.
A fascinating detail. Tucked inside is her old high school report titled, My Ancestor, Abby Prynne. In it, she argues her ancestor was a real witch. Her teacher gave her a B- and wrote, very imaginative.
Wow. Highlights her deep connection to this dark history, how the book fuels her rebellion. A critical item for investigators to find.
Absolutely.
Looking at all this, it's the systemic nature of the horror in the document that's so unsettling.
It really is. Not just a cult in isolation. It's this whole ecosystem of influence, control, indoctrination, law enforcement, youth groups, law firms.
All interwoven, sustaining it for centuries, consuming lives. It shows how deeply evil can embed itself with privilege and power. Makes it an incredibly tough challenge for any outsiders. 6. The climax. Henry's initiation and the choices ahead. Okay, so all these threads, all this horror and intrigue, it all leads to section 6, the climax. Henry's initiation.
The horrifying culmination. And the setting, according to the document, is perfectly chosen for maximum impact and cover. Stone Mountain Park.
During what kind of event?
A heritage homecoming rally. Confederate sympathizers, white nationalists, militia members, hundreds of people. Provides ideal chaos and cover for the cult's private, monstrous ceremony.
Using one kind of public hate rally to mask an even deeper, older evil.
A powerful narrative layering technique, and the plan for getting there is precise.
How they arrive.
William and Richard Venable, Henry, Abby, Samuel the butler, and Dorothea McCleskey, Abby's ally. They arrive in a motorhome driven by another cult member, Chad McCleskey.
With an escort.
Yes, Captain Devers and 2 Druid Hills watch officers, but they think they're escorting a secret KKK ceremony. Shows the layers of deception, how allies are manipulated, unknowingly serving a far worse supernatural evil.
Mastery of manipulation. So atop Stone Mountain, after midnight, the entwining ritual begins.
The horrifying goal. Samuel carries that picnic basket with Austin's pureed brain. Richard and William preside. Chanted ritual to Nyogtha.
And the climax of the ritual.
William injects the fermented puree into Henry through his nostril. And Austin's consciousness, the document says, will seize control of his son's body forever. The ultimate violation. Erasing Henry.
But Abby's plan, the swap. This is where it comes in.
This is the crucial moment. If Abby's plan worked, if Dorothea managed the swap amidst any potential chaos created by investigators,
then the injection is just beef tissue.
Right. Henry still suffers the physical trauma spasms, passing out, but his mind remains his own. The cult, however, thinks it worked. They're none the wiser.
And Abby hopes the investigators will.
Murder William and Richard at the ritual, clearing her path to power. It highlights her ruthlessness and the high stakes of her gamble.
But if the swap doesn't happen, if the plan fails,
then Henry truly faces that eternal mental prison. The document describes him as already a stage 3 near ghoul, monstrous physically, but still with that light of humanity in his eyes.
Which would be extinguished forever.
Exactly. He's still innocent of his father's real intentions. The ultimate victim, his fate defining success or failure.
Which raises that huge question for any outsiders involved. What does victory even look like here?
The document forces that dilemma. Do you try to save Henry, knowing you face immortal ghouls, maybe even Nyogtha itself manifesting?
Is killing the leaders enough? Does that dismantle centuries of this?
Or is it just about saving one boy? Disrupting things temporarily, or maybe just getting out alive, accepting a Pyrrhic victory at best, as the source puts it. The scale of the evil challenges the very idea of winning.
So as you think about this whole scenario laid out in the document, it leaves you with this profound ethical and strategic question.
When you face evil, this ancient, this deeply tied to power and privilege, where do you draw the line?
Is partial success, maybe manipulating one evil against another like Abby wants, is that worth the compromise?
Or is total eradication the only answer, no matter the cost? And is total victory even possible against something so deeply rooted? Outro.
Well, we've certainly taken a deep dive into the intricate, unsettling design of this Druid Hills scenario document today, from Joe Dawant's first suspicions about vanishing children.
To the shocking reality of the Nyogtha-worshipping ghoul cult, the sheer depravity within the Venable family, and Abby's desperate, morally gray rebellion.
We've seen how the document expertly crafts this veneer of perfect prosperity to mask absolute horror, sustained by corruption and dark tradition for centuries, all laid out with such chilling detail.
And what really stands out, analytically, is how this narrative drives home the point that the good life, that outward success, can conceal the most unspeakable things. How power, privilege, dark traditions, they become self-perpetuating, just quietly consuming lives and souls generation after generation.
It definitely leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Not just about this fictional scenario, but maybe more broadly.
Yeah. What ancient secrets, what meticulously hidden horrors might just be lying dormant beneath the familiar surfaces of our own world, waiting for someone to look close enough?
A truly unsettling thought to leave you with. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the source material. This has been the Uncanny Valley Podcast.